the Greek blood feuds.
That's why I'm like, I probably would have.
Or they didn't do something and it came back to bite them in the ass so bad.
I'll just go down the list. Can this person kill it? It's like 2 minutes later. Can they do the killing?
What if I give it to little Ajax with the kid kills the kid? Hi guys, and welcome back to us reviewing Epic the Musical. This is one of my best friends, Shalonce Royale, wrestling's best musical diva.
Yes, and I'm here with my bestie, Jordan. Wait, are you going by Rapus Recluse?
I say my name all the time, so it's okay.
Okay, yeah, her.
Hi.
She.
Yes, so we're reviewing Epic the Musical because I am chronically online, and she was an outdoor kid. And so many times in our friendship, our very long, decades long friendship at this point, we've been conversations and I've been like, this thing, she's like, you're smoking crack. What are you talking about?
Where is this? How is this? I'm just not really online much. And it shows.
Yes, and I've been chronically online since I was at least 8. So we thought it would be fun for us to do some very online things. The first one being reviewing Epic the Musical. Mm-hmm. So we just finished doing The Horse and the Infant, and we're moving on to Just a Man.
Okay. I'm in love with Zeus right now.
Look.
Those vocal folds and my vocal folds brushing.
I look into your eyes and I think back to the sun of my life. Become a place. When does a man become a monster? Forgive me. Does a man become a monster? Forgive me. I'm just a man.
So, I didn't expect Odysseus to sound like this.
Mm-hmm.
And I was taken away with Zeus in them in the last one. So, and now I'm back.
You have to you got pulled back into how lovely Jorge's voice is.
It really is, and I just didn't picture his voice being Odysseus. Mm-hmm. But not to say that he can't be, and not to say that he's doing a bad job. His voice is I was trying to come up with like an image in my mind, and it was not matching what I guess I would always think of Odysseus. But the emotions are really felt, and it's making me accept his voice and a new image of Odysseus.
Yeah, I think Jorge's voice is a really big part of the characterization of Odysseus in this musical. Mm-hmm. Because generally, if you think of Odysseus, you think of the Greek mythology, you think of a man who is first extremely intelligent and kind of an ass. Like, those are the thoughts you have about Odysseus. It's like, this man has too much pep in his step. And he's a little trickier than would have been allowed, than is generally allowed. He gets away with it because his patron gods are Athena and Hermes. Hermes is his great-grandfather.
Hermes.
He is a direct descendant of Hermes.
Okay.
So, those two gods specifically are, when those are your patron gods, those are the only times you get away with having that kind of attitude. Generally, the Greek mythology, that people want you to fight things face on. And you're allowed to you're allowed to outsmart people, but being tricky sometimes is a little too much. You're allowed to get away with it when Hermes is invoked and when Athena is invoked, because that's you were outsmarted someone. Hermes is the only trickstery type god, and as a direct descendant of him, he kind of gets away with it. But generally, you're doing a lot, my good sir, is the general thought process behind Odysseus. He's a bard in D&D. He's just talking his way out of shit. And you're like, this is definitely your fault, and you're just talking fast. So, part of his characterization in this one is so softened.
I like it. It gives it shows the human in him regardless.
Yeah. Oh, God.
I'm just a man
Yeah, and like this one specifically comes right after the last one, so he's still in the I have to kill a baby.
It's a baby.
Yeah. And so very specifically, it's I look into your eyes and I think back to that son of mine. You're as old as he was when I left for war. So that explains the very soft tone of it. And you're just sort of like, okay, so I guess I'm going.
And he is saying what we always say, like, I'm just trying to go home.
It's like, I didn't want to be here in the first place. I have a wife and a kid that I miss actively. I didn't go out for milk. I'm here because I was brought here. And then he's having a lot of like guilt. And I was like,
the soldiers didn't have to come in and start singing.
But when, just out of nowhere, he's like, he's having a lot of guilt. And then he's like, am I going to let this change who I am as a person? When does a man become a monster?
The moment I hand the baby over to you and you kill it.
The moment you hand me a baby and tell me to murder it.
And then, you know, I witnessed a monster be born.
I witnessed a monster hand me a baby in order to drag me to the dark side.
Dang.
And this will come up several times in this musical. This when does a man become a monster kind of thing.
We were born that.
Isn't man always a monster?
It's always a monster until you become human. When does a monster become human? When does a monster become a man?
That's actually a very profound question in the sort of aspect of Greek mythology. Because there are a lot of monsters in Greek mythology, but a lot of them are like the sons of a god or like were made out of like some weird messed up situation. And so you're like, when characterized, usually there's like, what is God, what is a man, and what is a monster is very like, these are separate realms. But sometimes gods do very human things, and sometimes men do very godlike things, and sometimes ascend into godhood. And sometimes true. Monsters are characterized in ways that are far more human. So, like, what makes a man, what makes a god, what makes a monster is a very Greek mythology thing.
That's real deep. That's deep.
I've been reading the Odyssey with the kids. I teach, and I've been having to think about Greek mythology a lot in school recently.
Yes.
So I've been having thoughts, especially since one of our kids is very obsessed with Epic the Musical.
I mean, I see why. I'm already, technically 3 songs in, but like 2 new songs in, and I'm just like, ugh.
It's good.
And I was really just drawn to that first one I heard vocally. It just felt, I was like, this sounds good to sing.
For something that was deeply crowdsourced, the vocals are top notch. He got a lot of submissions and he picked the best ones. They are fantastic.
Aren't you writing something?
I am writing something.
Okay. Oh.
I feel like I've told you about this.
A few moments later.
Oh, that.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I'm writing something. So I've written parts of it.
Okay. Well, that's going to be exciting.
Yeah. When I ever figure out what it's called, I'll tell you. So, second run.
I look into your eyes,
and he just has a moment.
Yes.
And I think back to the son of mine. You're as old as he was.
Background.
When I left
That's like, you know, I'm visual. I can see it. Just people like a head flying in the background.
Will these actions haunt my days? Every man I've slain is the price I pay. Endless pain. Close your eyes and spare yourself the view. How could I?
This song gives the vibes. I don't know if any of you out there has either listened to praise and worship, like contemporary, or been a part of like a contemporary worship team. And it's like the scale and like the voice, how it sounds like it would be like in a Chris Tomlin like song. Mm-hmm. Like real simple, but it's like.
That's really fair. There are some musicals you listen to and like, these people grew up in church. I could tell just by like.
Just like how it resolves, or how like open the chords may sound, because it's set to have like an ambient type, what is it, synth track or some type of ambient track in the background while you're just sitting here like, I just kind of got that in that little part.
Yeah. For a real quick note, yeah, I already told you everything else about it. So we were at Close Your Eyes and Spare Yourself the View. So, a historical reference point. Most cities, especially cities like Troy, which were known for their walls. Mm-hmm. In this time period, cities were walled off to keep, like, invaders out, to keep out animals at the night. And so Trojan was known for its wall. And Troy was known for its wall, and that's why they built the horse to get inside of it. When he says, close your eyes and spare yourself the view, he's on top of the wall. This baby specifically in Greek mythology was dropped. Stabbing would be a lot for me. Yeet. Yeet. This is a baby.
I would have done that.
Yeah. Same. I was like, I don't want to stab a baby.
I don't want to stab
What
it.
if I simply,
whoops,
if I tripped? Whoopsies.
Oh,
No.
like, oh, no.
So, like, close your eyes and spare yourself the view is, like, so heart-wrenching inside of context. You're like, oh, God, what are we doing?
What is, like, Jorge going through? Like, what is his life?
I don't know why he said, you know what? Should be a musical? The Odyssey. But again, it seems like he comes from a very Lin-Manuel Miranda tradition of writing musicals.
His voice has that sort of timbre.
Mm-hmm.
Like a
There's
timbre of, like, Lin.
Yeah, there are things that he's in online that I was like, were you in a Lin-Manuel Miranda production? It was like him rapping. And I'm like,
Hurt you. I'm just a man who's trying to go home, even after all the years away from what I've known. I'm just a man who's fighting for his life. Deep down I would trade the world to see my son and wife. I'm just a man. But when does a comet become a meteor? When does a candle become a blaze? When does a man become a monster? When does a ripple become a tidal wave? When does the reason become the blame? When does a man become a monster? When does a comet become a meteor? When does a candle become a blaze? When does a man become a monster? Forgive me. Does a man become a monster? Forgive me. I'm just a man.
They didn't have to ask those questions.
right? I was like, he's already struggling.
And y'all are coming in and letting him
When
have...
does...
No!
Shut up! Don't harmonize over my tragedy.
Man.
Oh my goodness. I feel like in this version of the Odyssey, I feel like this is the first time Odysseus justifies something to himself. Because he's very much like, there are other options. And inside of Greek mythology, you don't have to listen to the gods. You should. You will be punished for it, but they will let you do whatever you want. So he threw out all sorts of alternatives. And it was like, he doesn't have to kill that baby. But he's like, I know what will happen if I don't. And so I feel like this is the first moment where he's like, well, it's not like I haven't done bad things so far. Which, again, is very Odysseus.
He just wants to go home.
He does just want to go home. That man doesn't want to be here. Darn you, Agamemnon. For the audience, Agamemnon forces him to go to war. He was very much like, what if I dodge the draft? And they were like, what if you run your son over with a plow? And he was like, I guess I'll go to war. The Greeks, violent people. Yeah, and so that is Just a Man, which was a lot less happy of a song than the last one. Which didn't end happily, but it was at least hype. And now we're both like, Well, infanticide. Anyways, see you for the next one. Bye. First of all, and he's not always on board with the things Odysseus is trying to do because he's really trickstery for the culture, and he's like,
why is there always a choir just on in the background and
watch how the birds shut up.